makes more sense if we just go live and start using the tool. So it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to be receiving all the alerts. So first thing, I have it installed here. So I click on the version 5.4.4. In case there's any doubt, it's here, 5.4.4. Okay, if you I hope you're hearing me. I think the sound should be okay. Right, Alfred? Or any other one? You can hear me, right? Okay. I guess that you can hear me since you're there. Good. So what do? We said that depends on the format we are trying to convert. So in the first exercise, which I will show you here, we have the first exercise. We are going to try to convert a CSV file, which I'm going to open right now. So we have a file in the scenario A or 1. We have a CSV file, which has no header, by the way. See, there's no header. The first row is, well, already. There's no header. Okay. And is semicolon separated. Okay, that is important. We have a DSD, which I can download from the Eero SDMX registry. If you want, later on we can download it. The DSD is made up of code list, the concept scheme, and the DSD itself, the model of the data. So you have dimensions, you have attributes, and you have measures. So that are the different components that can be seen in a DSD, and in each component you have the corresponding variables that are linked to that subgroup of in the DSD. Okay, so we have what we are going to do is input file, so browse, desktop, webinar exercises. I click on here, and I have the table input. Okay. Now, in browse, I can write straight here, but I have to define the path, the location where I want the output, the converted file to be saved. Unless I want it elsewhere, I want it to be specifically on that folder where the input file is. So I can copy this like this, copy and paste, and then write output number 1 and the extension, which I wanted to convert to XML. This is one option. Or I simply click on browse, and here I write output 1 XML, so the extension shouldn't be forgotten. So I have the input and the path for the output file to be saved. Now, you don't see, I will just, the input, it has been rightly identified as CSV, but the output is not CSV. I want it to be SDMXML, and it's up to me, I will just click on generic or compact to see both. Yeah, so we need to, as well as identify the path to where the input file is available and where we want to save our output file, we need to double check and make sure that the input format, output format are rightly described, identified here. Now, we said that if we have the registry linked to our SDMX converter, we can click true and identify the specific DSD that is available on the URL registry. If it is, we haven't set it up, so we cannot use it for this one because I haven't set it up. So for now, what I have is the DSD, which I have downloaded, most likely, from the SDMX register, so I have downloaded it manually. I click. Sorry. Remember that the data flow, if we were to use the registry, if our system was, if our converter was has been set up and linked to the SDMX registry, we could also, or alternatively, as using the DSD, we could be using the data flow. Parameters, this is for Excel files, which we are not using, so we are not, we do not have to provide any information here, and in fact we can. So the system, since we haven't identified Excel as either input or output, we cannot use it. We cannot enter information here. Now, this is important, this area. Remember, edit header. So the header, since our input file is CSV, it does not contain the header that is needed in SDMX XML files. So we have two options. So either we edit it, or we provide the header because we have it in a separate file. Either way, I have a header here, which I will show you, by the way. It's nothing. The header is, well, you have all these components where the ID is compulsory. So we have here test, where it's being prepared. So those are compulsory, and the sender ID is also compulsory. Everything else is not compulsory. It will be described in the message, but it's not compulsory. So if you have it, of course, it's good to use it. If not, or if it's not, well, if you don't have it or you don't know the information, it's not needed. Now, so we have levels of CSV. This is usually CSV comes. Each row is a case, but sometimes we need more than one row for each case, and therefore that could be the multi-level, and that will have to be defined here. So in our case, is one row per case, so therefore it's one. Mapping, well, I'm going to leave it there because we will be making use, but I want to have an error message. So I'll leave it as it is. So this means that it will be using the order that is described in the DSD, which is here, and link it to the input file. Now, this is whether we want to keep, well, first of all, are there any header? In fact, we've seen that there are no header. So therefore, we say, because the option are no column headers, disregard, so if they are, but we don't want to use them, or to use the header. In our case, the option is simple, there are no, so therefore we identify as no. The delimiter is semicolon, and that is the case, semicolon. So the right header would be when we have this header, and we want to keep it for futures. We will do it later on. What we're using. Escape or unescape. Well, we don't have information is not escaped, and therefore we don't need to tick the box. Okay, the full namespace is, well, I'm going to leave it as default. Otherwise, I will have to provide, for instance, stat and the specific domain, which is TIC. Yeah, those are. But I'm going to leave it and reuse from the DSD. And then I'm going to click on SDMX validation because I want, as well as converter, I want the tool, the converter, to tell me to validate to the extent of possible whether the conversion is fine or not. For that, it will make use of the, for instance, in the DSD, we've seen that we have code lists, so we'll make sure that at the code list, so the data that is included in the input data file actually refers to, and the output data file refers to the potential or available code lists that are, or the codes that are available within each code list. Well, I click on convert and we will see. Says it's not valid, please log in. So this is where the next version of the converter would be very useful because it would give you a log, the log of errors. Here is more, well, it tells you that there are errors, but it doesn't really specify the errors. Okay, so, sorry, this is not it. So this is the file that we named, if you remember, output XML. So it rightly placed or saved it here on the folder that I wanted to be placed. If I open it, I will see that, I mean, of course, if I'm used to my data, I will immediately identify the reason why it's not good. Me, since we are new to this data, we need to make use of the DSD. But so frequency, I know that SDMX code list for frequency doesn't have T5. So that should be letting me, well, that would be already an indication that that could be the error, or there is certainly an error there because in the SDMX frec code list there is no T5. That is not a code that is available. So if I go to confirm to the DSD and I click on code list, I go to frec and I see that the only potential values are A, B, D, H, M, N, Q, S, W. So weekly, half yearly, quarterly, minutely, monthly, hourly, daily, business week, annual. Those are the codes available on the SDMX code list frequency. So certainly not T5. So that is probably what's happening. Well, it's just basically T5 comes first, and according to my data DSD, the first code should refer to the frequency. The code is frequency. That's why it's using in the output. It's using frequency T5, the first value of my input file. But that is not it, because T5 A in fact refers, which is most very likely that this A, which is the second value that comes in my input data file, refers to the frequency. So we will have manually to change, to modify the mapping. So mapping, you see that the way it's doing is taking the first value in the input data file is going to be identified as frequency according to, because this is the way that is being listed in the DSD. The second would be country, reporting country, etc. So if we need to change that because it's certainly not okay, in our case, we have here the mapping, which is the frec is listed in second in my input data file, which is true. Second. Third, number third, CH, in this case C set, is reporting country. So we see that this, in fact, is the correct mapping. And the first value is table ID. So this T file, in fact, refers to table ID. So we are going to use this mapping. Oops, sorry, I thought it was a load from file rather than doing manually. Is this one, right? Yeah. Okay, and then okay. And now, without changing anything else, I click on, well, only changing the output file, otherwise it will overwrite the output one. Click on convert. It says conversion completed successfully. So it has run the validation functionality, and it says that it's okay. Let's take a look at the output file. Oops, I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need it anymore. I already showed you. Okay. Number 2. And in fact, frequency is now annual, reporting country CH, partner, and observation status. And table ID, rightly identified as T5. So now, yes, done as the converter said, the conversion is being okay. And now we have our XML file converted from CSV to SDMX. And it tells you that it's being converted using version 5.4.4. Okay, so that is one example. Now I'm going to do the reverse. So here I have input table, which is this one. You will see this one. So T5, frequency A, country, Czech Republic, world, etc. So it's exactly the same. And I'm going to convert it back into CSV. Okay, so let's do that. I can actually do this. The input table. Now it's going to be, well, I can copy it straight from here for you to see that it works. Output 1 and CSV. This, so it's compact, and this is CSV. The future, the output file would be CSV. Now, well, it's exactly the same, but for you to see, it's a tag, stat. We will take it from a different folder, but the DSD is exactly the same. Now, since we are the input file is the XML file, we are no longer required to edit the header of the XML. We are, however, prompt or asked whether it's a multi-level, if it's a single level CSV, and it's single. Now the data, the output data format, SDMX or the SMS, one is locating, so SDMX is day, month, year, and the other one is month, day, year. Whether we want to use the header or not header. So since we are going to use, we want to, our aim is to reproduce exactly the very same file that we started off in the previous exercise. I won't use no column header. But at home, you can click and use column header. And what it will do is it will create the first row will be the header line. This is exactly what I want because I want to reproduce it, so I will leave it like this. Well, in order to create the header means that to have the header from the SDMX header to save it somewhere in order to use it in case we want to do the opposite or the reverse conversion, meaning from a CSV to an XML. Remember that we need to provide some header information here. I leave it as it is, and let's see what it gives me. Conversion completed successfully. Okay. I go here and output CSV. That is right. Well, actually, and I have a file. But is it the same file that what I had? No. Why not? Well, it is, but it's just that the order. So we have you see the T5, the table ID. It comes last because it has followed the mapping of the DSD. If we want to have exactly the very same one as this one, we should do this again. So input, output, I would just change to here. And then the mapping, I will use the mapping that I used previously. So it's not respecting the order, but to change the order to what it was, the source files in the previous exercise. Mapping. So you see, frag will come second, and table ID will be first. Okay, and now I convert it. Conversion converted completely successfully. And if I come here, now yes, it is exactly the same. You see, starting with T5 in both and ending with F. Okay, that is from CSV to XML, XML to CSV. No. Now we are going to do one exercise using Excel. So for Excel, I will open. We said that we are no longer creating new ones, but Eurostat is maintaining those ones. So this would be